welcome to the Today we are going to cover these basics. How to run your code, some basic extension that you need to know, basic strings, different types of print statements, variables, and integers and floats. Okay, so the best way to cover these basics is to listen and watch the example and then try for yourself. Now if you get the desired output, continue the video, and if you don't get what you wanted, try a few examples and listen to the explanation. Then you'll start to understand. So now we're going to go on to how to run your code, okay? See you in my Jupyter notebook. Okay, so I've opened up my Jupyter notebook and I have this print statement here. Now I want to run this print statement, but what I need to do first is hold the shift button and then press enter, and I printed out what I wanted to do. Now if you want to zoom in and zoom out, then all you need to do is hold the control button and scroll in to zoom in and scroll out to zoom out. Now that we've learned to run and zoom in Jupyter, now we're going to learn how to run and zoom in PyCharm. See you there, guys. Okay, so I've opened up my PyCharm folder, and here is the same statement I had in my Jupyter notebook. Now I want to run this, so we'll go to run, and we can see that the shortcut here is Shift plus F10. So I'm going to do that, Shift plus F10, and I ran it. And it says hello world. This is the exact output I wanted. So now I want to zoom. So I'm going to go to File, and you can see this little wrench icon over here. So I'll press that, and you go onto Editor, and then you can see it says font here. And then you go onto size, and you can change your size. So I'm just going to keep mine as 22. And yeah, see, and now I've got it pretty clear up here. Now we're going to go into Sublime Text and see how we can zoom and run our project. Okay, so I've come to my Sublime Text file, but we can't run it directly in here. We need to go to our terminal and then point to the directory what we want to go to. So what we need to do is type in cd, which means change directory, and then we need to type in where the location our file is in. So mine is in desktop, so I'm going to type in desktop with a capital D and then put a / next to it. And then you enter that and see now it's directed to desktop. And my file is called hello, so I'm just going to type in Python 3, or just Python for Windows, Python 3, and then I need to type in my file name, which is hello.py. So I'll run that, and it came up with hello world, and that is exactly what I wanted. Okay, so now we've covered how we can zoom in and zoom out and run our code. Now I'm going to tell you some extensions you need to know before we start this Python course. Okay, so before we start, I've got a few tricks I want to show you in the terminal and in Jupyter. So if you want to check the version of your Python interpreter, or just Python, then all you need to type in is Python 3, or just Python for Windows, and then you need to type in space and then minus capital V. Now enter that, and it says I'm in Python version 3.7.6. Now I've got another trick I want to show you. If you want to check all the files in a directory or another file, then all you need to type in is ls, and then it's showing me all the files I have in my computer in home right now. So now let's move on to Jupyter Notebook, and I'll show you some more tricks there. Okay, so I'm on Jupyter Notebook, and I've got a really useful trick I want to show you. So here you can see it says code, and there's a little arrow button, a tiny one here. So you click that, and there's one, and you can click the one called Markdown. And then you can see that the input brackets have gone. So if you want a big, bold writing, Then you can type in two asterisks and then some random writing and two asterisks. You can see it's coming bold here. And if you run this, it comes like that. So it doesn't come in Python, it just comes in normal text. So if you want to do that, to put in notes or anything, it's a really good idea. Now, if you want Markdown but not that big, then you can just type in normal text like this. And there you go, it comes out like that. Now, if you want a big heading, not just tiny and bold like this, but really big, what you can do in Markdown is you can put two hashtags and then you can just type something and there you go. It's really, really big. It's way bigger than these two. Okay, so those are all the tricks I wanted to show you. So now let's move on to strings. Okay, so as you can see here, I've got some markdown text telling you what strings are. So strings are characters, they're words, or even numbers, but they have to be in single or double quotes. So single quotes or double quotes. Let me show an example of a string. So a string can be a numbers, so just that's a string. So there's letters and numbers in it, or it can be just letters, so hello there. And if you run it, it comes as it comes exactly the same as what you put as an input. So there's also a string function, but the only thing you can do with it is turn plain numbers into strings. So you can't put quotation marks and then letters or numbers like that. Otherwise, it just returns as a string, exactly how it was. But you can put plain numbers. You can't put plain letters, otherwise you'll produce an error. So I put plain numbers in, and it returned that as a string. So now 46 is a string. So now let me show you what will happen if I put random letters. So I put some random letters, and it says name, whatever, all the letters I put in, is not defined. That's because it thinks this is a variable, and I'll tell you what those are later. Okay, so now that we've covered strings, we'll now go on to the print function. Okay, so welcome back. So now I'm going to show you what the print statement does. So all we need to do, if we want to print a string without the quotation marks, all you need to do is write print, and then you put your string in, so random letters again, and come and see, it doesn't just return the quotation marks exactly as you typed it in, it takes away the quotation marks. So now we're going to learn some of the rules of print. Now, if you want to include an apostrophe in your string, so let's say print brackets, and we want to include an apostrophe. Okay, so loads of people think we just do this. So normal quotation marks, and then you type in some letters, and you want to put another one, and you write S. Okay, so what we need to do now, let's run this. Oh, so now it says it's error because our Python interpreter thinks that the string has ended because there's quotation marks here to here and then here to here. So it doesn't know which piece of text it needs to run. So what we need to do is we need to put double quotes so it's easier, and then you can write Jose and then apostrophe S, Jose's bag. Okay, see, now we've got no errors, okay, because we put double quotation marks over here. Now if you want multiple lines in your text, you don't just write print and then normal quotation marks are double and then write like this. Otherwise it won't understand. See, EOL while scanning string literal. So it thinks the string has ended here because there's new lines here, except we haven't put our quotation marks over here. So how we can solve this error is to all you need to do is put 3 sets of quotation marks. So it doesn't matter if it's double or single. I'm going to use single, so 1, 2, 3, and then I can happily just write multiple lines like this, and it prints it out normally. Now, if you don't want to use 3 quotation marks and you just want to keep everything on one line, then I'm okay with that. You can just put normal quotation marks, and then you can put a backslash, an N, and then type more, backslash N, type more, backslash N. And it types that, and there we go. Wherever you put backslash N, it becomes a new line, because N is the start of a new line. And there is also something else you can do. If you want to tab it, which is a bit like more than one space, then you can do print, and then print, and then you put a backslash, but a T this time because it's tab, and then you write your letters. It comes, except you can see there's a big space here from this box over here. So there's a really big space, and that's how big a tab is. Okay, so that's all that you need to know for the print statement. And now, next we're going to go on to learning variables. See you there. Okay, welcome back everyone on our section of variables. So what variables are is it's a character or a bunch of words that are stored, that have strings or anything, even a print statement stored inside them. So we can write B equals random letters again, but you can't put 7 equals this. Otherwise it won't work, because 7 is an integer, which loads of people know as a whole number, and 7.0 or 7.5 or anything like that is a float which has decimal point, and you can't put that as a variable name, otherwise Python interpreter will get really confused. So let's just put single letters for now. So B equals this, and G equals this, random letters again, and you can add these strings together. So what I'm going to do is write print B plus G. So don't put any quotations around B plus G because they're variables and they don't need quotations. So let's run this, and there we go. We've got one whole string, and some of it's B and some of it's G. So up to here is B, and up to here is G. Okay, so we run that and it added together. So that would be really useful sometimes. You know. So I'm going to define 2 more variables, and they're called B and G again, but I'm going to name B something else, so some other letters, and then G equals different letters as well. Now if I say print B, it's different. So our Python interpreter saw that we named B and G again, so it renamed it for us, so we didn't have to do anything. That's why all our variable names are supposed to be different. Otherwise, we will get mixed up when we're doing our projects. Now, if you want to, you can store numbers as variables. So we can say G equals 5, and B equals 6. So again, our Python interpreter renamed. So let's print B plus G, and 5 plus 6 is 11, and it printed out 11. Now, if we were to name G to the string 4 and B to the string 8, and we asked Python to add these together, so G plus B, then it would come up with 48, because these are strings and they're not numbers. So it would just add together like we did for B and G for the strings. So 48, it will just add together. Okay, so I'm going to show you a really cool method, and it's called the dot format or f-string. So first, I'm going to show you a dot format one, and it's quite complex, but you'll get the hang of it when you start using it more. Okay, so what the dot format method is I'll show you how to do this. So let's define two more variables. So x equals hello, and then y equals there. Okay, let me just put these as a string, otherwise Python interpreter will produce an error. Okay, so I've put this as a string, and now I'm going to print it in dot format method. So print, and then what I need to do is put a string. So I'm going to put curly brackets. So these curly brackets mean blank spaces. So, and then I'm going to put another set of curly braces, and then I'm going to put a random name, so Sophie, something like that. And then after we do this, we need to put dot format. Oops, sorry. Okay, so how the dot format method works is you put a dot after your string, and then format. Remember, this is an old method, so you might want to listen for the next method as well. Dot format, and then you put your variable names in the order you want to put them. So I would put hello there, Sophie. So I'm going to put X, Y. Okay, so I'm going to print that out, and then it says hello there, Sophie. If I were to put Y and X, it would say there, hello, Sophie. So what I want to do is name them. So let's say 0, 1 equals to X, and 2 equals to Y. So assigning a variable to a variable, and then you could put 1, 2. Whoops, sorry. Let me just... Okay, so apparently Python already indexes our variables. So we can just put 0, and then we can put 1 here, and it says hello there, Sophie. So if we put 1 and 1, then it'll say there, Sophie. And if we put 0 and 0, it would say hello, Sophie. Now, there is another method. There is another method called the f-string method, and this is the much newer one, and it's way easier. So let's write print, but then before we put our quotation marks, we need to put f, so it knows it's the f-string method, and then we put our quotation marks, so f, and then we put curly braces again. So curly braces. X that you write our variable name in it. So X. And then curly braces again. Y. And then Sophie. And then let's put a let's spell our words correctly. So S H, and then run this, and it says hello there, Sophie. Okay, so that's it for today, and these are all the methods these are all the methods in this video that I wanted to explain to you. So please look out for the next video, and bye.